Hi guys, welcome back to Newcastle Fans TV. We're here with the preview for what is a massive game this weekend against Huddersfield Town. I'm here with Rob, I'm here with Kyle. Just to let you know beforehand, this video is sponsored by OneFootball. It'll have all the stats for this weekend's game against Huddersfield. Will it show that Miguel Almiron will score his first goal for Newcastle? It remains to be seen. Rob, Huddersfield Town, bottom of the league, 11 points this season. Newcastle coming back from a Wolves game which we conceded very late on. Do we go into this game with a lot of positives, or do we still feel a bit aggrieved after what happened against Wolves?
I think mainly positives. That's the main thing, because if you think about it, the past 3 league games we've come away with 7 points. That Wolves game, I would have definitely taken a draw before kick-off. Yes, that equalising goal was a hammer blow last minute, but I'd have taken a point at Molineux. I think going into this Huddersfield game, it reminds me of when we played Southampton in March last year. We go into the game, it's a must-win, and we think that a win, that could potentially work wonders, because we've got Burnley coming up shortly after. So yeah, I think if we win that, that'll hopefully just continue this good form that we're on.
Rob touches on the fact that the Southampton game last year, it kind of kick-started those big games, especially at home, that we managed to get some big points. Huddersfield, you know, they haven't won a lot of games this season. I think they've only won 2 all season. We've got to be looking at 3 points, haven't we? We've got, especially the next 2 games at home. Huddersfield, for me, don't cause a lot of threats. Have we got to be more attacking wise?
It's one of them with Newcastle, mate. I was just saying it off camera there, Newcastle are horrendous against teams bottom of the league. Like a couple of years ago we drew against Aston Villa at home. Last season we got beat off West Brom at home. So like it's the same time we're expecting 3 points, but at the same time I think, and it's like you never know with Newcastle. I mean, a lot of positives to take from like the friendly in the past 3 games where we've picked up quite a few points. So yeah, I'm going into that. I'm looking for 3 points, but you never know. Can't be too complacent.
Are you confident for 3 points? Because we seem to do well against the teams around the bottom. Rafa seems to be getting those points where, you know, not many of the managers, when you put them in certain situations, can do that. Tactically, this is where Benitez comes into his own a little bit. Yeah,
definitely. I'm hoping we get 3 points. I'm not going to be too complacent though, because at the end of the day, again, you never know Newcastle, but like yeah, hopefully we can pick up something and then carry on to Burnley, because really, Paul touched on the Facebook page, we need, I think we need at least 4 to 6 points in the next 2 games.
4 to 6 points. Do you agree with that, Rob? Do you think we've got to be looking at a minimum of 4 points in the next 2 home games?
Yeah, definitely. Just stay unbeaten, win at least one of them. That is a must, especially against teams that, if you think about it, Huddersfield, unlike the teams elsewhere in the division, they have a little special something. You know, teams down there like Cardiff, like Burnley, they do have a little special something that can pull off a bit of a shock. Huddersfield, though, the quality of their squad, man, I just can't see them getting many wins at all for the remainder of the season. I just can't get my words out. But yeah, it is very early to say that they are write-offs for relegation, and yeah, I mean, I've never known anyone to actually back them to sort of get out of this rut. So on that basis, you just got to go for it. Just get the goal difference up while we're at it, because this is probably the best opportunity we can get to get our biggest win of the second half of the season.
You talk about goals. Salomon Rondon's been instrumental for us this season.
Yes, he has.
He has. He's been brilliant. For likes of Newcastle, Salomon Rondon, you know, he's always a threat. I think he'll relish a game against Huddersfield at home. I think that's the sort of game that you'd expect him to get at least a goal from this game.
Oh yes, definitely. I think the confidence that he's in at the moment, you know, that has cemented his place as first choice striker. Since he came in, he was a little bit on the unfit side, but since regaining that fitness, yeah, he's been definitely the first choice, and he's taken that opportunity with both hands, really grasped it, and hats off to him. I really hope we can get him on a permanent in the summer. I know he's not getting any younger, but hey, aren't we all? But yeah, Rondon, this is a big chance for him to get to maybe a hat-trick in this game. That's what he's going to look, and he's really bullish, isn't he? He does like to bully centre-backs, especially ones that I mean, no offense to Chris Schindler, but he's not exactly made of muscle, is he? So that's going to be Rondon's big target, and if Rondon does his homework on him, yeah, I think we can expect a bit of a bloodbath in the Huddersfield defence.
Kyle, Newcastle can't be too complacent though, because you've mentioned sometimes we do trip up against these sort of teams. Has the leaders on the pitch, likes of Jamal Lascelles, maybe even Fabian Shaw, a bit more experience at the back? Have they got to make sure they're rock solid? And especially with Martin Dubravka, you know, he's been under threat with the Wolves game, the Tottenham game, even the Man United game. You know, he's made a few errors. Have those collective three got to be such a strong unit to make sure that we get these 3 points that everyone's expecting? Well,
very recently they've all stepped up, like Lascelles and Shaw as leaders. Like Lascelles has been saying recently that he had a difficult start of the season, but he's really coming into his own again, which is a great thing for us. In games like this, so you need people to stand up and like be counted for, and I'm especially looking forward to seeing Almiron play, because I really want him to start in a team like Huddersfield. Like, no disrespect to Huddersfield, they're one of the lower teams down the league, so like it might be a great chance for Almiron to hit the ground running and get some form, like to show what he can actually do.
We'll see if Almiron goes into 1 to 11, which we'll do in a later video. Huddersfield, David Wagner's left. I hope I've pronounced it Jan Siot or Stewart or Sievert. I'll let Rob do it on that one. But yeah, he's come in. Have Huddersfield almost kind of getting prepared for the Championship by getting a new manager and a young manager, and perhaps maybe repeat what Wagner has done for them in the last couple of years of getting promoted and getting, you know, keeping the Premier League in the first season?
For me, it's very similar to what West Brom did last season. They brought in Darren Moore later on in the season. I think that was kind of an acceptance of them saying, right, we need to rebuild for next year, and you can see what they brought in as well in terms of players. Like, unbelievably, Newcastle, among the teams at the bottom, did the best in terms of like bringing players in, and like Huddersfield, I think they only brought in Jason Puncheon from Crystal Palace. So like, I think that's a case of acceptance for them, because like they're on 11 points, 13 points from safety, and they're only bringing in Jason Puncheon. Like, come on, like they needed a bit more than that to stay up. Like, they need a new striker, they need new midfielders to accommodate Aaron Moy, because he's a one good player. And I think if they do go down, which is,
would you have Aaron Moy at Newcastle?
We'll have too many midfielders.
He's a little bit different.
Mixed up with John Joe Shelby though.
I just think because he's a little bit different, he's a bit of a goal threat as well.
Yeah, I would take Aaron Moy, mind. I would.
Would you?
Yeah, I would. I mean, we need depth in the team, so bring him in.
I know you like doing predictions, like a particular prediction, Kyle, but do you think Newcastle should win this game, or do you think they will win this game?
Newcastle should win this game, but it's a case of which Newcastle turns up, whether we will win this game or not. Because if we are going to lose to these types of teams this season, especially, it is at home. Like, because we're not losing to these types of teams away from home. We wouldn't been beat off the top 5 away from home this season. So like at home, that's where we're most like predictable to get beat. Like, look at the Fulham game, for example, was dreadful. Like, we need to not play like that.
Definitely. Rob, do you think prediction wise now? I know you'll give me a score. Do you think Newcastle get the 3 points on Saturday?
I totally agree with Kyle in the sense that it depends what Newcastle side turns up. You know, if it's the one that has been turning up to the past few league games, then yeah, most definitely, like I say, we could have a bloodbath on our hands. If it's the one that was like against Fulham, yeah, we could be in for a really frustrating afternoon. But I can see us keeping a clean sheet. I'll go for 3-0.
Oh, very optimistic, very optimistic. I'm going to go 2-0. I think Newcastle will get the 3 points. I'm quite confident that we'll get the job done. Get your comments in below. How do you think Newcastle got on against Huddersfield on Saturday? Do you think that Newcastle can get another home win, back-to-back home wins? Actually, maybe even 3 Premier League home wins in a row. So that might be a first, maybe since the good run from last season. Like and subscribe to Newcastle Fans TV, and we'll see you at the next video.